Hey everybody, I'm back. Got another day in. It's a Monday, definitely a Monday. Didn't have too big of a day today, nothing exciting. Just kind of some of my normal stuff. I spent the first half of the day working in the computer. Probably about 98% of our rooftop units and exhaust fans and everything are controlled by an energy management system, KMC brand. We have a couple others. We have probably 30 units that are on a train tracer system, and then we have a chiller and some other stuff at some of the other buildings that is running on tritium system. But what I was working on today, and the majority of my time, I'm working on the KMC system. What I ended up having is an issue with two units that were tied together in the ductwork. They're brand new train, 7.5 ton units tied to the same duct, and we were having an issue with not keeping up with cooling, so I had to dig into that a little bit. Found the problem to be mostly in the programming. The second stage would not kick on, and they were set up in the computer to be lead lag, and they're to alternate once a week. Every Monday they switch. Unit 1A would be lead this week, and 1B is lag, and then next Monday it'll switch, and 1B will be lead, and 1A will be lag. And that's all done in the KMC programming to keep the wear on the units equal, spread the load a little bit. So we got into that. Ended up finding some missing lines of code, and somewhere in the past, way before my time, somebody has gotten in there and made modifications to the code and just was getting caught in a loop and never triggering the second unit. It was skipping over it. So we wound up having to rewrite some of that code and change it over. They also had it set up for 2 units with 2 stages each, and that's not what is actually setting on the roof. We have 2 units that are single stage. So I got that program rewritten and got it calling for cooling properly, and then seemed to take right off and do a lot better. The biggest issue with that was the fact that because we couldn't get the second unit on, we were getting a bypass effect. The first unit was running, and the second unit indoor blower was not running, and there's no bypass damper or anything in there, no kind of a damper at all to prevent it from cycling back to the second unit. So that's what we were getting. We were getting the first unit blowing into the duct, and then it was feeding backwards through the second unit to the return of the first unit, and we were not getting all of our capacity down into the building. So once we rewrote the code and was able to get the indoor blower running so that both were pressurized and pushing the same direction, that took care of that, and the first unit, actually the capacity started keeping up. But we went ahead and changed the code so that we had our second stage when we needed it. And so that took me till about lunch to get all that up and running. And then I went up after lunch and verified that all of those program modifications took care of the problems, and they did. The rest of the day I spent up there checking a couple units out. I had gotten a report that a section of the building was not cooling properly. They'd been hot all weekend. So I went up to check on that one, and thought was going to be an easy fix at first, because as I approached, I saw that the contractor last week that was working on controls had left the disconnect off, so it didn't run all weekend. Thought, oh man, I can't get this lucky. And went over and threw the disconnect on, and I didn't have still wasn't getting any call for cooling, and it wasn't proving indoor blower. So I had to do some tracing on that one and turned out to be they had the wrong wire hooked to the proving switch for the indoor blower, so it was never getting a confirmation that the blower was running, and then in turn, without that confirmation, the KMC would never initiate a call for cooling. So I wound up putting the right wire on there and getting that all hooked back up, and then she started cooling properly, and she came back down into a nice range pretty quickly. So that was the majority of the second half of my day. So like I said, nothing too fancy or exciting. Kind of my general day is things like that. But we made progress. We got 2 areas of the building cooling when they weren't, and so that's pretty good progress. So that's about all I had for the day. I did have something that I wanted to put on here. We were sitting around talking about different things, funny things, and we got to talking about some of the silly stuff that we've heard come out of so-called technicians. And we got on the topic of pumping down a system with a vacuum, vacuuming it out, and I got to thinking that'd be something good to put up here and just kind of get everybody's feedback, see what kind of other silly stuff have you heard other technicians say. A couple, for example, that we were talking about today that I've heard. I've been told that all you have to do to vac a system down is wait for the smoke to quit coming out of the handle, and then wait 15 minutes longer, and it's vac down properly. Yeah, that sounds kind of silly to me. I don't work that way. Another one was all you have to do is have a good quality pump and leave it on for 30 minutes, and you're good to go. I don't think I'll be doing that. And let's see, there was another one that was you put your gauges on, and once they get down to negative 32, it's fully vac down and you're good to charge. Yeah, I don't think I believe that one either. So there's some of the silly things that I've heard in the past. I guess probably the silliest thing that I've ever heard come out of a technician's mouth when we talk about vacuuming the system down is, what's a micrometer? Yeah, that's probably the silliest one that I've heard. So I thought I'd put that out there and see if any of you have any others you've heard. I would definitely be interested to hear and get a chuckle out of some of the things that you guys come up with. So I'll leave you with that, and everyone have a wonderful evening, and I'll check back with you hopefully tomorrow. See ya. Thanks for watching.